So we'll call the meeting to order at 6:03. I'll rise for the pledge of allegiance. Ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'll just call for 1 moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, and we'll do roll call.
Commissioner Diaz?
Here.
Commissioner Fisher?
Here.
Commissioner Flowers? Commissioner Gutierrez? Commissioner Munoz?
Here.
Commissioner Patel? Commissioner Torres?
Here.
Commissioner Velez?
Here.
Commissioner Mason?
Here.
Commissioner Cabali?
Chair, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oral communications, just a reminder, 3 minutes per speaker.
Don't have any cards.
Hello, welcome. Oh, no problem.
Let the record reflect that our commissioner arrived at 6:05 p.m., please.
May I get an approval of the minutes if everyone has had an opportunity to review the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
The minutes from our January 9th, 2024 meeting of this room. New business, we have,
But we have a second, so it was Commissioner Torres second, and we'll need to take a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner,
Torres.
Mason.
Second by Commissioner Mason.
Okay, my mistake.
Commissioner, I'm sorry, Chair Munoz?
yes.
Vice Chair Mason?
Correct.
Commissioner Cabelayan? Commissioner Diaz? Commissioner Fisher?
Yep.
Commissioner Flowers? Commissioner Gutierrez? Commissioner Torres?
Yes.
Commissioner Patel? Commissioner Velez?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to new business. We have a presentation today from our Hope team. So thank you.
All right, so myself and my partner, Officer Martinez, I'm Officer Mello, we're on our Hope team. Sam Ling was part of the Hope team with me for a couple of years. He recently retired, and Officer Martinez has taken over. Hope stands for Homeless Outreach Park Enforcement Team. Our mission statement is basically to enhance the safety of the public by addressing criminal activity in our parks, surrounding neighborhoods, and addressing the homeless issue citywide. So obviously we want to try and help the homeless, get them help, get them out of the city to make the city hopefully safer for you guys and so people can enjoy our parks. We work with several different agencies to help us. I'll kind of go through each one and kind of explain what each one does. So the first one is Department of Mental Health. We have a clinician that's assigned to our city on Wednesdays from 8 to 6. That is clinician Caroline. She can basically ride 50-on-50 holds, she can outreach people that experience mental health illnesses and kind of offer them services and help them out. So it's a 4-city agreement. It's us, Covina, Glendora, and Azusa. That she is available all 4 days if we need her. So if we have somebody that's in crisis and we need a clinician, we can't call her out. So she is available. We also work with the home team, which is the Homeless Outreach Mobile Engagement Team through the Department of Mental Health. And they kind of help us out with our ones that are very service resistant, suffering from mental health, maybe some substance abuse stuff, generating a ton of calls, causing problems at our parks or at our businesses. And what their goal is to do is to conserve them. So basically they are forced at that point to go and get some help. And that's, once they're conserved, they're gone for a year. And then they reevaluate after that year and go from there. So right now we have three that have been conserved. It takes a long time. It's not a quick process. The quickest we've gotten somebody conserved is about 6 months, but the one that we just had recently took about 2 years. So it takes time. Lakata's been with us for 2 years now. They are a full-time outreach team that is out here. They're Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. They have a big white van. I'm sure some of you guys have seen it. They drive around the city. They're outreaching our homeless. They are tremendous help. Prior to having them, if somebody wanted help, that was an all-day thing. We were getting them an okay to book, transporting them to a treatment center. It was an all-day thing. So with them, they've taken that over. Now we're able to focus on more of the enforcement stuff.
Can you call on them if you happen to be somewhere and something's going on and they can come over?
Absolutely, yes.
Wow, that's
We work hand in hand with them.
Okay.
So they've been with us for 2 years, and I think we're working on a long-term agreement right now to extend their contract for another 4 years, hopefully. So their first year, I haven't updated this PowerPoint, my apologies, this was made for the Citizens Academy. But in 2022, that was their first year. They housed 85 individuals. Now, not all of them stayed, right? But they were housed. Some of them were successful. They moved on. Others came back. But they are there. And they, like I said, they're full-time, Monday through Friday. LASA is our other outreachers. They're here on Tuesdays from 8 to 12. So prior to Lakata, this is all we had. We had them on Tuesday from 8 to 12, and that was it. It's really hard to get any work done in 4 hours, so having Lakata has been a huge help. However, LASA has a lot of connections to like the homeless shelters, things of that nature, so we still lean on them. They actually housed 2 people for us today. So, and again, if I need them, I have their numbers, I can call them, and they're pretty willing to come out. Code enforcement, they help us out with all our private property stuff, so all our businesses where we have issues. They're the ones contacting the property owners to clean up their property and make the properties less enticing to the homeless, right? A lot of the times when you look at issues at different businesses, there's a reason why there's the homeless congregating in that area, whether it's free Wi-Fi, lighting, power sources. They want to charge their phones. What else?
Covers.
Yeah, covers from rain.
Overgrown vegetation.
Anywhere there's a Goodwill, probably going to have problems because there's always donations. So they've been a tremendous help for us. With private property, we're pretty limited. We cannot go in there and clean up the property. The property owner has to clean up the trash. So code enforcement's been great with getting in contact with them to help us get those areas cleaned up. City Yard helps us out with all our public places, so mainly our parks. So if we need trash cleaned up, encampments, stuff removed, they're the ones that help us out with that. Caltrans helps us out with all of our freeway properties. So a lot of the land that borders the freeway is actually owned by Caltrans, and they're pretty responsive to come out and clean up. This is a Clark Ellen, just north of the freeway. We have a lot of issues there. It's a big property. It's owned by Caltrans, and that's probably our biggest one. So 2 different models. Housing First model is kind of the old model, and that was basically we're gonna house people, and then they're done. Once they're housed, then we'll try and do case management. We'll try and help them out with with their mental health issues, their substance abuse issues, but we're just gonna house them. Well, that's great, you get them off the street quick, however, they're not gonna succeed because the root of their problem is either they're addicted to drugs, they have mental health issues, and if they don't get help with that, you can house them all you want, but they're not gonna stay. They're gonna leave or they're gonna get into trouble. So the new model is basically we're gonna help them out with getting into a rehab, getting them stabilized, then we'll house them. Or we're gonna get them medical health treatment, get them stabilized, get them on medication, get them jobs, and then we'll house them. So it takes a little longer, but as far as successful rate, this is the better model, and this is what a lot of agencies are going to. So here's our homeless count. We started the Hope Team in 2018. We were at 254 homeless. 2022, we were down to 46 unsheltered. So they did the count weird that year. They did sheltered and unsheltered. What sheltered was, I really don't know. We don't have any shelters in our city. So I don't know if that was like your sober livings that they were counting, people in there. But it's gone down tremendously. So hopefully we can keep going in that trend. And here's the breakdown. So it's hard to see from back here, but they break it down. People on the streets, people in tents, people in cars. And then we had 66 shelters. So kind of some things that affect us with enforcement. This is Martin versus Boise. This is the anti-camping ordinance. Basically states that we cannot enforce our anti-camping municipal code in the city because we do not have a shelter that can house all of our homeless. So basically they can camp in the city and there's not really a whole lot we can do. Same with curfew. We have a municipal code that says you can't be in the park after 10. We can't enforce that. As far as I know, this is at the Supreme Court right now. They are looking at it again, so it could get overturned. But as of right now, we cannot enforce any of our anti-camping. We can still enforce open containers, smoking in the park, doing drugs, things of that nature, but we cannot enforce camping. Pomona lawsuit, basically they got sued for arresting homeless and throwing away their mattresses, their tents, things of that nature. So they were basically forced to do all these things. They had to buy these big Connex boxes to store their property. They have to tag their property, give them notice that they're going to be taking it. They have to store their property for 90 days. They had to build a shelter. So obviously, because of that, we have this. So this is what we use for public property. If we're going to remove property that's abandoned, we have to go tag it. We have to give them reasonable time. We have to photo it. And once we've given them ample time, then we come back. We got to take their property, store it. It's got to be stored for 90 days before we can then get rid of it.
Does that apply if it's trash and debris all over the place?
So if it's trash, if it's soiled, if it smells like urine, if there's bed bugs, any of that stuff, we get rid of it. This is like valuable. This is like money, documents, things of that nature. So
you have to sift through that?
Yes. And for the most part, once we tag it, they move. So, and if they leave stuff behind, or what I'll do is I'll tag it. I'll say, hey, we're going to come back on Tuesday. I'm giving you guys 3 days to clean up. They're pretty good. I'll say, hey, whatever's trash, just put over here. Whatever you want to keep, put over here. And then we'll come that day. I'll say, okay, this is trash, right? Yeah, this is trash. And then we'll take that. And then they'll take their stuff and be on their way. So they're pretty good about it. And then Gascon, our district attorney, this is his special directive. So he is not filing on any of these charges. Trespassing, drinking in public, possession of drugs, being under the influence of drugs, resisting arrest, loitering. These are a lot of these, pretty much all these crimes are what our homeless commit. So we can still arrest for it. However, he's not going to file the case. And I can tell you, we average about 170 arrests a year, and I can probably count on one hand how many of our cases actually get filed just because of this directive.
What sort of ramifications does an arrest have?
It doesn't, other than inconvenience for them. So
And it goes on their record, right?
yes.
So they'll have it show up, like say if they apply for some job and a life scan, it'll show up they've been arrested? So-
It'll show, yeah, they've been arrested, and it'll show the dispo that it wasn't filed.
Okay.
So, I mean, and honestly, I would rather help these people get off the streets, get into rehabs, get into shelters, because long-term, that's gonna help them way more than me taking them to jail.
Where are these shelters that you're talking about?
Closest one to us is in Pomona.
How
So,
about in downtown LA?
lots of them down there.
That's what you,
But the problem is that a lot of our homeless don't wanna go to LA. They wanna be home. Right?
it's easy to get down as a homeless.
So,
I was a police officer there for 30 years, and I worked Skid Row for 27 years of it.
yeah,
So I know all about, exactly what you're talking about. I did all that
yeah,
for 27 years.
yeah.
They're very reluctant. Most of our homeless, the minute we say anything in LA, Lancaster, Tarzana, any of these places are quite a distance where they can't just walk back, they're very reluctant. They want to be in Covina or Barn Park or somewhere local so they can stay in the area. It's unfortunate. We do have a handful that do accept it, but most of them are very reluctant.
There's companies dump their homeless in downtown LA.
And we're getting a big influx of people dropping homeless in our city. There's new ones every single day.
I'm sorry, one of our guests would like to ask a question.
Yeah.
I was with the Sheriff's Department for 34 years. Every time we had a program, I had to look at the funding source. You're paid by the city, am I correct? I voted against Prop 1, because Prop 1 was going to take the money from the counties and send it to Sacramento. And the reason he did that is he's in the business of building homesteads for quote-unquote developers. Can you find out from every one of these people that you work for if their funding is going to be decreased? You can look into that.
Yeah, I'll look into it.
That's why I voted against Prop 1. The state was taking county money for the homeless.
Thank you.
Here was our statistics. This is 2022 compared to 2021. So our contacts have gone up, our citations have gone up, our arrests have gone up. In 2021, it was Sam Lean was doing this by himself. So once I came in, obviously, a lot of it went up. Any questions? I know I kind of preached through that.
For the Caltrans properties, you were mentioning the one on Lark Allen?
Yes.
It's like a vacant lot?
Yes.
Is it fenced?
It is fenced, however, it's been cut. Every time they re-fence it, they keep cutting it. And it's actually both sides, so it's north of the freeway. There's a spot on the west side. I've talked to them about putting like a wrought iron gate across just to prevent, because it's really small. It's like a 10 by 10 random little, it goes up a hill and then it plateaus. And it's just like a little 10 by 10 thing with two walls, cinder block walls. All they would have to do is put a metal rod, a gate or something across it, and it would prevent it. But they don't want to spend the money, We get a lot of complaints there. I have a good contact at Caltrans. He's pretty responsive. Anytime things pop up there, we get it under control pretty quick. But trying to put up the gate that they're not going to break into, yeah, good luck. They got all the time in the world.
And do we know, Roxanne, what the process is if like we want to do it? Is that something Paulina could ask or try to see if, we'll pay for the fence we put in and just get permission from Caltrans? Is that?
Yeah, so basically, this is,
If it's our causing problems?
it's probably a good 100 feet, but the fence line ends here. So from here to the freeway wall it gets cut all the time. And you can kind of see all the fencing's balled up right there.
So that's where we would put a wrought iron?
Yeah, and unfortunately, these are all houses that back up to it. Yeah, so here it is. So here's the property here. These are all houses that back up to it, and their wall is probably this tall. So they see right into it. It's terrible when there's, this is back deep into it. They'll set up tents and stuff back here.
So
They tag
on the aerial, where would that gate go?
So you have to run it
Along the street?
from his property line, which would be right there, all the way to the freeway wall. And then, like I said, the other side is very small. It's hard to see on there, but it's very small.
Okay.
What's so attractive back there?
It's just once you get way back in here,
hidden.
And then this brush,
You can't
see this
see
is
it.
trimmed here, but this brush will get really high.
So they're just hidden.
So they're hidden.
You cannot see too from the public eye.
Whose property is it? Who does it belong to?
Belongs to Caltrans. Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems to be a common
Why would
problem,
the city
so
have
then
to?
it could be a model possibly of what we can do on all
They're
this.
not gonna do it either. Why would the city have to put a
And I-
fence?
I don't know why these houses were put so far back and why this property's so big, but, you know, I mean,
You can't interfere into someone else's property.
yeah.
When you drive on North Ellen, you can't see it because when you're driving northbound or southbound, there's a hill before you get there. So then you go, so it's
Yeah.
really hidden for, so passerbys don't call. The only ones we get complaints from or get calls from are the residents. And it's unfortunate because I would call all the time too if I lived there, because if you have kids, you can't trust them playing in the backyard. If you got, who knows?
Is that
being back
the
there.
wall that they just built on the freeway?
I don't
The
know.
block wall?
I know, yeah, I know they did redo some walls. I don't know if they redid that one or not.
It looks like.
It's very tall.
That's a new one, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
the,
not one
Before
property.
that was probably chain link.
Yeah, yeah.
We gotta get creative sometimes, yeah.
the reason I brought it up is because
Yeah,
it
resident
makes
sells
sense
a
to me
resident.
that the calls for service, right, have a dollar amount tied to them.
Yeah,
So they're eating up resources, you're continually having to go out there.
yeah.
So if you were to put a dollar amount to that, it'd probably be more than it would cost to
The
put a
cost for a
fence.
Yeah.
And I'm
Something
sure
like-
Caltrans would be willing to work with us if we said we were gonna put a fence.
Honestly, they're great about coming out, trimming the brush, cleaning up trash. When it comes to repairing fences and putting up fences, they are terrible.
Right,
I mean,
yeah,
it's just
I've
plain and
had the
simple.
same problem on Cameron for about 5 years.
Mm.
Been trying to convince them to put a fence.
Cameron and North Garvey. Okay.
Their,
As far as I know, we took that over, right?
their, not excuse, but their reasoning is, well, we're just gonna put another fence and they get damaged again. So, because their solution is wrought iron, or not wrought iron, is chain link.
Just chain
And
link.
chain link's so easy to remove.
And actually, what I've
They
realized
should
is
put wrought
that
iron.
no chain link sometimes is better than chain link because it at least gives you access and people are more visible. So it's either wrought iron or nothing.
Yeah.
Because the chain link just gets vandalized so much that it's ineffective. Okay, sorry for that tangent, but I think if we can look into see what we can do.
We can look into it. I know that's not an identified project at this point, but we can look into it. I can't make any promises one way or the other.
Yeah, in conjunction with the police department, if that's something that would help them. Maybe we can,
I think it's a good point, you know, especially to what you had said about the calls for service versus the cost of the fence. It's a good point.
And then unfortunately, Caltrans, similar to the other county, they don't want for cities to take over, to do anything in their property. We tried doing a wrought iron gate and a county fence, and they stopped us. Said, no, we'll take care of it. Just call us when it's damaged. They'd rather get calls when the fence chain is damaged than for the city to do something with during it.
interesting.
Yeah, we have these Caltrans properties all along this. This is just probably the worst one.
Well, this is just a far out thought, but kind of on your coattails a bit. Generally, in the world of code enforcement, if you have a nuisance property and you go through the proper notification of, you know, please correct, please correct, please correct. After a while, you have the authority to just go in and correct it yourself and then back bill whomever.
Yes.
And in this case, because it does pose a threat to the health and safety of our community and the folks that live there, granted absence of any community meetings where the city can go down there and engage in conversation about, you know, the issues that surround not doing anything. But at some point, it would seem to me that we should be able to, as a city, do that.
Are we talking Caltrans properties or like businesses?
Well, that particular property would be a nuisance.
So what she's saying is, you know, after the city has exhausted its notifications to Caltrans, that perhaps the city can go in, clean it up, put the gate up
Right.
and then build Caltrans.
Yeah, that would be.
It's a
that'd be
far
good
out
question.
That is an
Don't hold your
avenue.
breath.
Yeah, yeah. Because that's what we do essentially for our businesses that are causing us nuisance. CVS on Azusa and Puente was one of them. They closed their doors and then they just abandoned the property, and before you knew it, we had all kinds of transients there, doing drugs, causing all kinds of problems. So code enforcement got involved. They started citing the property owner to the point to where they basically got an order from the judge that said they need to hire a security guard to sit on the property 24/7. So obviously we can't be there. And once that happened, everything's great. Because somebody's there 24/7, somebody steps on their property, they say, no, you gotta go. You know, unfortunately, we can't do that. We don't have the resources to be at every property all day. So, it can be done with businesses for sure.
Okay. Now, well, I just have one more,
Yeah.
maybe a question. So I was out and about today and I noticed the number of contacts have increased to your office. I'm probably 1,000 of those calls in. And I did notice a very sad uptick in mental health, extreme mental health issues out there.
Yes.
I drove along one street and there were two individuals, just clearly they were not well. One was actually in the street screaming at cars and with a shopping cart. The other one was just screaming. So have you noticed that there's been an uptick like that?
Yeah, I mean, those are the ones that are working with the home team. We have 2 or 3 individuals that are pretty bad right now. You know, our hands get tied because at the end of the day, a lot of this stuff is voluntary. We can 50 on 50 people, but they got to be a danger to themselves, danger to others, or greatly disabled. We do 50 on 50 those people that we're trying to get conserved quite a bit. However, we take them to the hospital, they go to the hospital, and typically the hospital doesn't want to deal with them, so they kick them out. And they're back out to us.
Which hospitals are these?
What's that?
Which hospitals are you taking to?
We go to QBH or ICH. I try to go to Charter Oak. Charter Oak is phenomenal.
Do they do
Aurora
some charter homes there?
Yes. Aurora Charter Oak is great. They will hold people for weeks, and they actually do something. ICH and QBH, I can't say are the best.
And so
but-
you were in law enforcement, you know, when we write the holds, the 72 hours is just a recommendation on our end
Yes, I
until the doctors and then like at the hospitals, like you were saying.
Revolving door most of the time.
Yeah, they'll evaluate them like 4 hours in and be like, oh, they don't meet criteria, let go. So unfortunately, ours is just recommendation. Aurora will take the steps to continue treatment, and we've seen a great outcome with those individuals.
So could you really do 72 homes?
Yeah.
Sorry, my voice is on the horse. I didn't realize
You're
that.
saying can we write 72 hour holds?
Yeah, but do they hold them in their psychiatric ward?
Yes.
Psychiatric ward, do they?
They do, but sometimes the doctor will come in and evaluate them and they release them within 24 hours.
Yeah,
So,
that's common.
the other problem we have too is with having Queen of the Valley in the city, all these outside agencies are putting people on 50 on 50 holds and they
In our
take them
city.
to Queen of the Valley and then they get out and now they become our problem. So,
Yep.
you know, we're dealing with that too.
I have a question. The 28 Olympics are coming. Do we have a plan on when they send them down the freeway? I saw yesterday on a tow truck, and I told my husband, that's coming from LA,
Yeah.
and they're gonna dump it somewhere in the valley,
Of course they are.
in the East San Gabriel Valley.
Yes, they are.
I know Mylan is working on a RV ordinance for the city, which I think we need desperately because that is going to be, they're going to start kicking all the RVs out of LA and they're going to come trickle down our way.
They're gonna be everywhere.
So I know that's in the works. I mean, as far as what we do, we're just keep doing what we're doing. You know, I don't know of anything hard in the plans of building more shelters or anything like that. I don't know.
They don't want shelters.
Yeah, a lot of them don't. A lot of them don't. But, you know, that's why we outreach them every day. Even if they tell us no today, then doesn't mean they're going to say no tomorrow. You know, so keep trying.
I'll tell you right now, Queen of the Valley does not have psychiatric ward. That's why they recently in 4 hours.
No, they do not.
Because they can handle.
Yeah.
They can handle.
Oh, we've seen that. We've
Go
seen
to
that a lot.
USC, We have psychiatric ward. Anybody does not have psychiatric ward, you take them there, 2-3 hours.
So there's a new one in Chino, are you familiar with that?
Chino, no.
Yeah, there's a new psychiatric hospital in Chino.
What's it called?
Like 6 months new.
Okay.
Do you know the name of it?
I don't, but I can get you the name. Their doctors have been marketing us because
Okay.
they want those patients.
Okay. Yeah, for us, I mean, Aurora Charter Oak is awesome, and that's where I go. The only time we can't go there is if there's medical issues and we have to go to a hospital. But
I will get you the name of the place in Chino.
yes, definitely.
And for the 5150, does that apply to every hospital, or are there certain hospitals that all hospitals have to take?
All
Or
hospitals
is
have
it?
to take them.
Okay.
They take them, but they don't necessarily have to.
Well, right, yeah. I was
Yeah, I don't
wondering if
necessarily have to do anything with them, but they gotta take it.
They have to accept them, there's a law that they have to accept, they can't refuse them, but
So they'll accept them, medically clear them, and then they'll ship them out to a psychiatric.
Treat them if they can. And
So there's no minimum requirement for a hospital to have anything to take them?
just to accept them.
It's essentially it's a medical clearance. They're gonna medically clear them, and then they're gonna ship them out to a psychiatric ward.
Okay.
So like ICH has Parkside built into it, so they'll get medically cleared at the ER, and then they go down to the psych ward, Parkside.
And when you say that there's patients that get admitted to Queen of the Valley and they end up here, so are other police agencies bringing them to Queen of the Valley?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then the call for service comes out Sunset Merced or the 7-Eleven off Merced, and it's usually those individuals with hospital vans that are causing the issues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because unfortunately, if they have a problem in their city, what's an easy solution? Well, I'll just put them on hold and I'll take them to a hospital that's not in my city, and then they're not my problem anymore. And
Okay.
it becomes our problem. So, good and bad about having hospitals in your city.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, is what you deal with it.
Is Charter Oak privately ran? Is it a private entity or a public entity?
That, I don't know. I don't know.
At one time, I think it was private. It's a really comprehensive mental
Yeah,
health
'cause
component.
if there's any sort of line of communication between like Hope teams from, well, they're different names in different cities, but.
There is. We meet with Covina, Azusa, Glendora. You know, and Covina has the same problem as us because Aurora Charter Oak's in their city. So all these other agencies, they take all their 5150s to them.
Right.
They get out and they're in their city. So it's not just us dealing with this, it's every city that deals with it.
Right. Yeah, so it's.
And it is what it is. But yeah, we're in contact with all our local homeless teams. And we do days where we all kind of get together and we'll go to different cities and outreach and just have more people in the city. So.
If there were a wish list of what you wish you had, what would that be?
A DA that would file charges, hold people accountable, make our job a lot easier.
Okay, a smaller wish list.
Yeah, I know.
We'll start on that right
What's
away.
the biggest challenge that you see beyond, you know, the day-to-day activity that happens, which is very unpredictable? But in terms of the infrastructure that we have here in the city, whether it's businesses, nonprofits, our park system, what is the biggest challenge that you see that if you had a magic wand to fix that?
Honestly, I think, unless you got something, Mylan has been tremendous help for us. I think before Mylan came on, there was kind of a disconnect between us and code enforcement. So dealing with these private properties, trying to figure out who the property owner is, trying to get in contact with them. You know, there's Amar Island Pacific Shopping Center, there's like 5 property owners for that thing. And depending on what portion of the parking lot you're in is a different owner. So trying to deal with an encampment and figure out who the owner is, who to contact to clean it up, that was always the hardest thing. But since Mylan's got in there, I mean, he's done wonders. Like,
Who's Mylan?
He's the director?
Code enforcement, correct?
Guy's doing a good job.
Yeah, no, he's done great. I mean, he's added tons of code enforcement officers. They each have their own little areas that they go to.
Awesome.
I mean, Caltrans, I have a great contact with them. You know, I mean, our parks are good right now. We did have issues at Woodgrove, however, we got the tree trimming service that's kind of been whacking down leveling out all the brush, which has helped us out tremendously. So once that's done all the way up and down Amar, we'll see that'll help out tremendously. I mean, really,
I would say exactly what he said, that our only hurdle right now is the overgrown vegetation, which we have a plan in place to trim it down. But that's gonna take, because it's been overgrown for so long, it's gonna take a while before we get there. And that's the biggest hurdle right now, because it's a desirable area for these homeless people to camp out at. And unfortunately, on the south end of our city, it's all hillsides and water. So it's very desirable for them. And unfortunately for the residents, they have to suffer that because of the overgrown vegetation.
and it's a public spot, so technically they can be there.
Right.
Which makes it tough, right?
So I have to say that behind my building, I run Merrill Gardens,
Mhm.
that little piece of property there from the, so Merrill Gardens, there's a little pocket.
By the wash?
Yeah.
Yes.
The wash.
We were having a really hard time, and Vince, our fire captain, got Mylan involved, and within a day, it was cleaned up, and it's been cleaned up. So you guys,
Yeah.
you know, working collaboratively as a team makes
Yeah.
a difference, and we saw it. And so they've just cut a hole in the fence again, but
Okay.
your chain link doesn't work, because I don't know what tool they use to cut it, but they do.
You give them enough time, they'll cut anything.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
but I don't know what's back there except privacy. There's no electricity, there's nothing there. They were cooking, and that's why I told Vince, they're cooking back there. If they catch these bushes on fire, my building's gonna catch on fire. And they got it cleaned up, and it's
Yeah,
fine.
and we did have, dealing with the washes was tough before Mylan came around. I don't know what contact he has, but they've been great. Because when they do get overgrown, that's when we tend to have the issues, and
Mhm.
Mylan calls his number, and they're there the next day, and clean it up, so, yeah.
So it's working, so thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And any issues you have, just let
And
us know.
before Sam retired, I had an in with him. Ask him about his Tesla.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
One last thought, just popped in my head about the Caltrans property. So is there a workaround where we could install like the railing or whatever we decide to put in, like within our right of way, or even the sidewalks, Caltrans?
We have to see where the property
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
where it
the
lines
lies.
are.
So whatever the property lines are, whatever the city owns, we can definitely secure that. But anything that's Caltrans, we can't touch.
Just
Right,
a
so
very
it'd be-
steep
It would
hill.
essentially be the property line or the
Whatever the
right-of-way
property
line.
lines is.
Who knows where that
The
goes?
only example I could think of is in Baldwin Park over there, Baldwin Park,
Oh,
Puente and West Garvey. I think we have like a railing that goes along the,
Yeah, and it depends on, over there, you're talking about, it's an on-ramp also, I think. What you're
It is
talking
on-ramp.
about.
well, it's
So-
like a 90-degree like curve.
Yeah.
And we put like a fencing or we put some railing along that.
Yeah, here, I know we're talking, it's kind of steep, it's a slope, and it's the underpass there, so it's a different situation. And the properties are kind of weird there, we gotta figure out what the properties are.
Yeah, that might be a
Yeah,
workaround.
anything that's on the frontage of the city, we could definitely look into securing those areas. But
Right.
again, there's a will, there's a way, they're gonna get in no matter what. I think our best option is we talk to Caltrans about them securing the back along between the properties and the wall, getting
Right.
something in there.
And not only would they have to put a wrought iron on the exterior that's closest to Lark Allen, but if you see that picture on the bottom right, that is an alleyway, like a little small path that goes all the way through to, it opens up at the backside like apartments, right? So
Yeah,
they would
it
have
almost
to
does,
put
so.
another wrought iron gate there and almost another one wherever it leads to. So you're talking about a couple, and that would be hard because that's actually on the property.
but this short wall looks like it's only about 4 feet wide.
Oh, it's
How
tiny.
tall?
It's
They can
not as
hop right
tall
over.
as.
Short.
Yeah.
Who would be our administrative Caltrans contact? Because I'm assuming that you have a field level contact, right, a maintenance.
I have the contact for the supervisor that handles all the cleanups.
Do we have like an administrative level?
I'm gonna talk to him about his number because I don't want to start bugging that guy.
Yeah, Mylan,
They can give me
I
another
know
number.
Mylan uses the same guy, Tony Avila.
Yeah, because generally when you get to an office administrator, they're the ones that could potentially allocate money to do projects
Yeah.
like that. Field staff will just, they'll go,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, they're just gonna come clean up, get rid of the brush. But I will say, when we have the brush trimmed down, like in that picture, and it stays good. It stays good. They're looking for concealment and they want to be hidden, so.
And now that I'm remembering, you mentioned that we have the Cameron and West Garvey now, that property, we took it over?
As far as I understand, the Cameron North Garvey? the
Yeah.
little- Yeah,
It's like a little.
as far as I,
side.
yes, as far as I know, we took that one over.
There,
Okay, good.
and there was a suggestion that I think is a great suggestion, but what about if we planted cactus in there?
That's
That's a option.
It's a desert plant.
That is
It's
a
native.
definite option.
that's an option.
Drought tolerant. I don't know. Is it edible? I don't know if it's edible. A big one.
We'll move on now.
Any other questions for the Hope team tonight? All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
I don't have any.
Yeah, if you guys need to get a hold of us, hope@wcpd.org. You can just send us an email if you have any comments or issues. in your
Tell me
area.
again, it's hope at,
hope@wcpd.org.
You guys have done a great job at Cameron Park too,
Yeah.
as far as the homeless and the graffiti.
Yeah, that was a big
Great
issue
job,
for a
yeah.
while. So, we try. Like I said, we try to see what's causing it to go to that area.
You know what was our
Good shade.
our baby for a long time. I was like, I think you probably see me there.
We can't do it for you now.
Yeah, but
Cameron
I
Park
was
and
at
stuff.
I was at Woodrow for like 6 months until I finally got it resolved.
Thank you very much,
Yep,
gentlemen.
I was looking at here.
Back to our agenda. Item number 3, concert share recap and the summer concert band selection, concert series. As you can see from the agenda, the role for tonight is to recommend that the commission make a selection of a band for the summer concert series Wednesday, July 10th, 2024, and direct staff on how to proceed.
Okay, I'm going to just provide a quick update. Myself, one of my staff members, Archie Godinez, Chair Munoz, and Commissioner Fisher went to Concert Share back in January in Whittier, and it's basically an event where there's a lot of different bands and different genres that you can go up, listen to their music, see videos of them performing, and talk with them to see if it's a fit for your city and what you're trying to accomplish. So for tonight, like Chair said, that we're going to decide. You guys are going to discuss for the concert on Wednesday, July the 10th. So yeah, that's just kind of an overview. We went on Thursday, January the 18th. It's kind of what I explained, just the big kind of expo.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Do you have anything written that I can see?
It's on the,
Yeah.
it's in your packet.
My vision.
It's in your packet.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And then we've already booked the other band for the other concert series. We'll go over that as well. So here's the band lineup for 2024. We're going to kick off our summer concert series on Wednesday, June the 19th. The concerts will be here at the Civic Center in the courtyard again. It'll be from 6 to 9. We'll have DJ, vendors, food, all the stuff that we have previously, kids crafts, our info booth. So it'll be a great time. I look forward to the summer concert series every year. So we're going to kick off the season with the No Doubt cover band, No Duh. So that'll be our first concert. And then concert number 2 will be on Wednesday, June the 26th, same time, and it's going to be a spin-off of like the La Senora de Anita, so Big Marias y La Senora. They're really, really great. So
Are they good?
Yeah, they're good. So I'm excited for that one. And then you guys will choose the July 10th concert. So the fourth concert will be on Wednesday, July the 17th, and that will be with the Ace Band. And they kind of do a variety of different music, like from R&B to top 40. So just kind of a variety of music. And then on Wednesday, July the 24th, we'll have the Dreamboats. Excited for them as well. They're a new up-and-coming band. They do Motown, and they're really great as well. And then our last concert will be on Wednesday, July the 31st, and we will be having the flashbacks, and they do 80s. So they're great too. So yes, so that's the band selection this evening that you guys will be choosing, and then we have the commissioner's choices. We'll have a list of that on the next slide. So option number 1 is Bumptown, and they do R&B music. I think their video.
There's video. So if you click on Bump Down, it'll play their music.
Let's see. There you go.
When you hold me, somehow you seem to set me free. And when I dance, you
A couple years ago.
Yeah, we did. It's been a while.
Oh, yeah, I bet more than a couple.
Yeah. I think like maybe 2015.
Yeah, I think so, because I think I was one of the persons down there when we.
Yeah, I think it was like, I want to say between 14 to 16
Yeah,
that we had.
yeah.
If I remember.
They're good, they're good.
Yeah. So that's one of the options that you guys can choose from.
The flashback.
Yeah, they're the last one.
Yeah, that one.
They're good.
80s, I think.
Yeah, they're 80s.
So we're focusing our attention on selecting a band for the July 10th
Yes.
Concert. And so these are recommendations that were made by the commissioners. So both our chair and vice chair who attended concert share with our staff members. So your first recommendation was Bumptown. Are we ready to go to the next one? Okay. There we go.
And then the second one is Chico.
When I saw you, I knew that I was gonna love you. And every day I thought of how I'm gonna love you. Now you're here next to me, and ecstasy is a reality. I feel good 'cause you are here. I'm so alive 'cause you are here. Working on a groovy thing, baby. Working on a groovy thing.
And we'll go for the third.
They've also performed. They've performed, here, go Covina.
Oh, was that-
I don't remember the last time they performed here.
But they were expensive, it seemed like. We went one time and we saw them, they had a higher price for their performance.
I don't know.
Yeah, I have.
That may have been before my time.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember having
Okay.
Chico, and I've been here since 2016, so
Yeah,
not
okay.
to my knowledge.
Okay, yeah.
And then the last one is Cold Duck.
Cold Duck.
You already know.
Your own cold duck.
You know,
I didn't
thing to
ask
keep
her.
in mind is that you may want some variety.
We've had Cold Duck several years.
That's why I think I'm going for the first one. 'cause
Okay.
we've had it
Okay.
so many times.
Yeah, that was the commissioner's choice last year, so just putting that out there.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
that is an option.
But I think it's nice to have a change too. The first one sounded really good, Motown.
Oh yeah, Cold Duck.
Discussion time.
Well, I'd like to defer to Commissioner Fisher. She and I attended band chair together. We did not have an opportunity to meet together and just collaboratively discuss music, but it was really overwhelming. It was really
There's a lot of
exciting.
people, there's a lot of bands.
You know, attending was overwhelming. I didn't know what, first of all, when we agreed to go, it was gonna be a park setting.
Yeah.
And then it was in this little closed room, and it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
And you went from literally hearing one to the next, to the step in, and they were all very interactive, and they're all pulling you into their site.
Yeah.
And my strategy was, let me walk through and see what I see, but halfway through, I'm going, this isn't gonna work. The strategy's not gonna work.
Yeah, there's a lot of different bands, just a lot of different genres.
Yeah, just exactly. It depends on what genre you want, and you guys had already picked some. So I'm thinking, I don't want to pick what they picked.
Yeah.
I want to pick different. We've had Cold Duck over and over. Like they said, they get people up on their feet. They get them moving and grooving, and that's what we want. But is there anything else out there? And so I have a few, but we didn't collaborate. So my list didn't get up here, but that's okay.
Yeah, besides,
So the Cool Kids Band, which is rockabilly also. Greg Young, I really like Greg Young, and I think it's called Straight Band. Oh, Street Band.
Street band?
I can tell you where he was, but I just like his genre. I like his energy, his group. I like the music, and then I can't read my own writing. The Hard Day's Night, the tribute band.
Like the Hard Day's Night Beatles?
Mm-hmm.
Hard Day's Night to beat the Beatles, tribute band?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Are they the ones that's gonna be at the Covina Playhouse?
no, that's another
Okay.
tribute band.
I have no idea.
Yeah, they're Beatles too, but I was
Yeah.
wondering.
And then I was not prepared for the inundation of emails.
Oh, yeah.
I must have 500 emails. I was like, wow. Okay, that goes. Did you get a lot of emails?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to you.
That's all I have.
Okay.
I'll give it back to you.
Well, I did swing by where the Beatles tribute band was, but just knowing the genre, I just felt that it would most likely be way out of our budget. The tribute bands for the Beatles, my experience is that they're very, very pricey. Maybe is a little bit more even than Cold Duck, depending on how good they look and how well their tributes are. But they sounded really good. I did swing by that.
It's up to you. Yeah. It sounds like you guys, if I may, just to help you in your decision making. It sounds like you guys are interested in this particular Beatles band. What we can do is we can look into see availability as well as cost.
Okay.
And then if you can give us a second selection, a second choice, and then we'll go from there. And if there's any changes, or if we can't accommodate either one of those requests, whether it's because they're not available or for budgetary, whatever the reasons may be, who knows, we can communicate that back to you and our reasons why and what our selection will be. But if you can tell us, give us a second choice, that will help us.
Oh, excellent. That sounds really good.
So if I may, Hard Day's Night is number one, and then number one is number two.
So
I don't know the name of the number.
So we're saying Hard Day's Night and Bumptown.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
The one that's playing Working on a Groovy Thing?
Yeah.
Is that Bucktown?
The first one.
Okay.
No, that sounds good.
That sounds good.
They were pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. All right.
No.
We have a motion.
Do we have a motion?
Right? I'll make a motion.
And a second, please?
Second?
Roll call. Chair Munoz,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mason,
Yes.
Commissioner Kavalani.
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher,
Vice Chair.
Vice Chair Fisher, sorry.
Yes.
Oh, I already got you on there.
Take that.
Commissioner Flowers, Commissioner Gutierrez, Commissioner Torres,
Yes.
Commissioner Patel, Commissioner Velez.
Well, since I didn't hear the music, I'll go along with whatever the wishes are.
You're gonna love it.
I think next year you should go.
Well, I didn't even know that you were the
Yes,
day that you
it
went
was
to.
presented in our
listen to the
December.
music. No one let me know.
Or June, when did we decide, like August of last year?
No, you decided it would have been like November.
It was before that.
Because January is when you went, so it
Right.
would have been,
I thought it was September.
it may have been earlier.
Yeah, it was
It
earlier.
was really early. We communicated that when we got the
And
information.
it took place here and maybe you were absent.
Yeah, it might have been when I was in the hospital, yeah, so, you know, like I said, I'll go along with
That
whatever
sounds
the
good.
wishes are.
That sounds good.
But as a matter of just public information, the majority of the bands do have fairly decent websites. So what I did in kind of going through all of my notes is, we left with a bag full of information with notes about the bands that I couldn't remember once I left the venue. And then as I started kind of perusing my notes, then I just jumped on YouTube and listened to some of the music and listened to a couple of CDs that were giveaways. So everything's public, so if you want to check out Bumptown and if you want to look at the tribute band.
If you're into music,
What's the name of the tribute band?
Hard Days Night tribute band. And if you're into music and you like all kinds of genres, just raise your hand next year because it was interesting.
It's fun.
But have a strategy.
Yeah.
Because I went in there like not thinking, I don't know what I thought. I thought we were going to go from space to space and be able, but no, it was step to step.
She said it perfectly, it's like a flea market.
That's exactly, I didn't expect that.
Or performance,
It was
I
fun.
should say.
It was a lot.
I thought, really, they were going to be on a band, they were going to get on stage and give a little piece, and we were all watching. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Oh, there's way too many.
Yeah, it is. It's overwhelming.
American Idol.
Yeah. So then I started rating them 1 to 5.
Yes, that's what I
One
did.
of them we chose.
Alrighty, moving on the agenda, thank you very much for everyone's participation in the lively discussion. Agenda item number 4 is presentation on the Sports Council.
Yes, we'd like to take into consideration for you to take into consideration for both agenda item number 4 and number 5 is to table these to the next meeting. And our rationale for this request is because you do have 3 commissioners who are missing tonight, 2 of which are new commissioners. And I think that the Sports Council presentation and how we go about allocating fields and our athletic facilities is beneficial not only for the group as a whole, but also for our new commissioners to get caught up to speed. And I also think that Commissioner Gutierrez, just with her experience with pony baseball, kind of being, you know, in the trenches, if you will, she could also provide insight into the process from a league perspective. And so because they are not here, I would recommend that we table this item for the next meeting.
My only issue with that is they're never here. They're new ones, but how are we going to assure they're going to be here at the next meeting?
If they are not here for the next meeting, the commission has the authority to say, we want to hear it at the next meeting.
Okay.
So I think it's a nice gesture, especially for our 2 new members, to have that opportunity to get the feedback from Commissioner Gutierrez. I think there's a benefit to waiting, but we most definitely don't have to wait if the next meeting comes and they're not present.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And then as far as the selection of ad hoc committee members goes, same reason, you know, you do have 3 commissioners who are not present.
It sounds reasonable.
Okay.
So I call for a motion to defer item number 4, item number 5 to our next commission meeting.
So moved.
I'll second.
Chair Munoz?
Yes.
Vice Chair Fisher?
Yes.
Commissioner Pavilion?
Yes.
I'm gonna get Commissioner Diaz?
Yes.
Commissioner Flowers? Commissioner Gutierrez? Commissioner Torres?
Yes.
Commissioner Patel? Commissioner Velez?
Yes.
Motion passes for both items 4 and 5.
Thank you. Moving on, agenda item number 6, the dog park update.
Good evening, my name is Jerry Lopez. I am the new Deputy Director for Public Services, Public Works, the city. And today I'll be here updating a little bit on the dog park project. Back in November 17th, the city launched RFP for architectural design services for the dog park. And we received 1 bid off of that RFP from BPK, their architectural firm that does large-scale projects. Unfortunately, due to the large residential project that the school district is going to be doing adjacent to the park, we wanted to get permission from them as far as what their footprint is going to be, so as to not interfere with our dog park project, and vice versa. We don't interfere with their project and see what it's going to be. So we're waiting for them to get back to us on their footprint, under their project design, so we can move forward with ours. So at this time, we're on hold until we get that information from them as to what they're going to be doing, and then from there, at that point, we'll move forward with our project.
So because there's only 1 response to an RFQ, do they automatically win the bid, win the award?
Yes, they were responsive. They were a good contractor. They were a good company, so we're going to move forward with them. So at this point, we are prepared to move forward with them, but at this time, we're on hold for the other project to get us their design.
There is a tentative date for an approval by the city council at a city council meeting. So staff is doing their part as far as moving the project along, because we do have that sale of the park property or the portions of it that belong to the school district. That puts us in a little bit of a holding pattern, if you will. But engineering and maintenance and community services, you know, we have been in communication for that project. It's just unfortunate. That was one thing that we did not expect to have occur. Do you have anything else you want to add on the
No,
part?
that's pretty much
The money is still part of the CIP. You know, the money's still allocated for it. It's just on hold. Yes, ma'am.
Where's the location?
At Del Norte Park.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
While you're remodeling or extending whatever you're going to do, will you be closing that section off for the little animals, or?
During the project, yes, it will be closed down because we are going to be redoing parts of it. So we may be able to do a portion of it at a time and keep parts of it open.
But it will be closed?
But it will be closed at times, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You know, the residents are very frustrated that this has drug on for so long. And when I'm out and about, I hear 2 things. When's the dog park going to be renovated? And what about that library?
Yeah.
2 things constantly. And the park has been going to be renovated for 5 years now. 3, you know, good part of 4.5 years.
So at this time, we are prepared to go for the April 2nd meeting, but until we get those plans from the developer, we may have to push that back. We don't get it anytime soon. But we are prepared to move forward with that project.
You know, I think one thing that you are looking at is that you do have, you know, movement by the city. Like, we understand the residents' frustration. I think I've been hearing the same thing for the past 2.5 years that I've been here. So we do understand the residents' frustration. There is light at the end of the tunnel, especially because we did go out for an RFP. We do have a responsive bidder. And it's not just that they're a responsive bidder, but they're a responsible one, because that's something that we look at too. So we're not just gonna take, okay, you're the only one that puts your name in the hat. You know, there are certain things, certain criteria that they have to meet. So staff has done their due diligence and working in tandem with engineering, who engineering does take the lead on these types of projects, to move this along. Again, it's just unfortunate with the sale of that property and what the developers are gonna do.
Are we hanging on because we think that the new development will contribute to that dog park? Is that in the back of anybody's mind? Because if that is, that's a good reason to hang on, but we need to make that known.
That's not something I can speak to right now, and I'm just being honest. You're welcome.
On the library, but that's the county's issue, isn't it?
It is a county's issue. So I'm not trying, yes, you're correct. I'm going to answer that question very briefly. It is a county issue. We're going to try to stick to the items that are on the agenda. And we can, if you have more questions about the county library process, I'm happy to answer with the knowledge that I have after the meeting.
Yeah, well, we know that you're not, the city's not responsible for the county library. I think everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But it's been closed over 4 years.
Long time.
So for the dog park, I know that we're in a holding pattern right now, but what can we do to kind of anticipate, plan? I know that there's...
April 2nd is right around the corner.
Literally.
So it is literally around the corner.
April
So
2nd is what again?
April
Around the
2nd
corner.
is when we have it slated to go to council for approval.
For,
To award a contract for the RFP for the responding party to the
so
RFP.
then, aren't we waiting to see the blueprint? So then,
That's correct. April 2nd, we're going to award architectural design. So they will move forward with the architectural design. at
so we're
that
gonna
point.
move forward with architectural design, not knowing what they're gonna do there?
No, the blueprint that you're waiting for is the developer, not the developer for the dog park.
So adjacent to the dog park, this
Oh,
goes
so the April date is the
So
development?
through the RFP process, the city received one responsive bidder.
Okay,
That bidder has a proposal for the dog park. So right now, staff is being told, we're gonna still put a placeholder for April 2nd, because we've been planning April 2nd to bring this forward to council, okay? That is what staff has been doing. In the meantime, we're also waiting on the developers. That's the direction that we've received. If we're told, we're planning at this level to bring it forward on April 2nd. If we're told to pull it, then we'll pull it. But this is still more movement than has happened in the past.
okay, I'm still confused. So then we're not making the decision at the staff level then? We're not really concerned about the development at the staff level? We're looking for the council to tell us what they want to do?
You know, there was some discussion today about audit at the staff level, and the discussion today at the staff level is we need to hear back. The acting city manager has reached out to the school district, has reached out to the developers. We're hoping we're gonna get a response prior to that April 2nd meeting so that we can go forward. That's where we are.
Okay, so it's likely that if we don't, it might...
We're ready to go. We're just gonna keep bumping it until we get that response.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then at this point, I'm assuming the design is on the same footprint, right?
Yes.
We're not looking to relocate it to another area in the park to avoid any sort of conflicts with the development?
Well, that's what we want to wait to see what they're going to be doing with their land. And if we design something that they're going to be blocking or they're going to be impeding to our walkways or to our dog park, we have to adjust that.
Yeah, because that's one thought I had. If they are going to develop that site as a residential use, which I think that's where they're moving, incorporating that site into the park as opposed to putting like a giant 12-foot wall,
Correct.
down the whole property line, which will probably get vandalized or whatever. It would be a lot nicer to incorporate whatever they're building into the park. And if that's the case, then the dog park might not even be a good
And that's what
location.
we're waiting for. We want to see what their design's gonna be, so we can incorporate that into our.
Yeah, so we could even move it to a different location in the park, because I know that there's a lot of open spaces.
And once we get that design from them, we'll share that design with the architect, and they'll be able to design something that's gonna be conducive to what they have.
What they have.
So the architect responds to the RFP, and the
Right.
RFP and the design that the architect comes up with, if it has to be adjusted, it will be adjusted at that level. That's not part of the RFP per se. That's part of who they are as a firm.
So if we had, modify, they could easily modify
Correct.
their initial design.
Correct.
Or move it, or.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, sounds good.
I just have one comment, and that's for both. For the proposed activities that are taking place, let's say at the dog park, and it involves partnership with our school district, and let's say ideally everything moves forward the way it's supposed to, at what point, or is there any consideration to have a public meeting, a community meeting there on the property to discuss the proposed activities once it's been buttoned down?
The community services and maintenance, I think both departments value the input from the public. I think both sets of staff appreciate that. I would imagine that there would be one. I don't see why there wouldn't be one. And I know this topic has come up quite a few times. And we're still answering the question in the affirmative that yes, we would still have a public process for that.
Yeah, and then the only one recommendation I would add is when we do that meeting, we need to be 90% sure that everything's happening, because we don't want to have to backtrack and.
We wouldn't go that far. I think that would be irresponsible.
Well, not in the sense of planning, but just assurance that it's going to happen, because
I see.
They did a community meeting 5 years ago, I believe, or informal community meeting, where they told everyone that we were going to have the dog park upgraded. Everyone got excited, and then that's when it turned into the 5 years. As opposed to having never mentioned anything, maybe people would have been more receptive to this timeline, but it was advertised back 5 years ago. So just caution that when we do have the public meeting, we should be 100% there on commitment, and then
We should be ready to go.
Right.
Agreed.
Any other questions or comments? Moving on, thank you.
I want to go back to that real quick. Just from your recollection of that process, when they had the community outreach meetings for the dog park, was it a series of meetings? Was it specific to the dog park, or were they soliciting CIP projects?
It was at the time when they had I think it was a grant.
Got it. Okay. Okay, that helps
And
me.
then that fell through. But at the time when they got the grant money, they went out, and that's when they did the outreach.
I understand.
So
was it, what should we spend this on, or was it, okay, got it.
yeah,
Okay.
get feedback. They went out and asked, what would you like to see? People said that they wanted improved turf, more drinking stations, all those little items that they were sharing. But from what I understand, it was like informal. It wasn't necessarily advertised. I think they just went out and sought input from the people at the dog park.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But it didn't materialize. It was a grant that fell through.
One more comment on exactly what Commissioner Torres is referencing is that it is kind of common practice in some cities that when you host a community meeting about a specific topic, especially if it's an infrastructure construction type project that will have a huge impact on the community for years, when you host a public community meeting, the comments are then
incorporated.
Yeah, or memorialized into a staff report that is then presented to the city council. And I think oftentimes when the council is fully aware of what the community's voice might sound like, on paper, I think it just memorializes that so that either it brings on a more urgent need or it's more important, or I just think it's kind of an important practice to request that once everything is said and done, once things are on their way, to host that community meeting and memorialize those comments.
I don't think that it was a formal meeting where they
Right,
took
no.
notes. I think it was, they went to the dog park and queried
Right.
people there with a wish list. I
This
think
is-
that's
Yeah.
more what happened than, hey, we're having a meeting on this day at this time. I don't think that was the case.
Right.
But I agree with you.
And this is what I'm thinking right now too, because the dog park is at Del Norte Park and is one of our parks. And I'm circling back to something that we're moving towards, that you and I have had discussions about, Commissioner Torres, is our Parks Master Plan. We have already posted the RFP for the Parks Master Plan process. And we are soliciting qualified landscape architectural firms to design this plan. To me, through that Parks Master Plan process, you're gonna have those community outreach meetings. To me, it makes sense that you do that with the dog park as well. We already know that you know, we have this funding that's been identified for the dog park. Part of the Parks Master Plan process, or excuse me, one of the purposes of the Parks Master Plan is that it is a planning tool. It's a long-range planning tool. So that is a project that we know we have funding for, that we can, you know, kind of move up on the timeline, if you will, for a Parks Master Plan, also based on community input. So that I would wrap into that whole initiative. And then what happens at the end is you get a document. You get a document that's approved by the city council that has the plan, and again, it provides for that long-range planning.
I would agree with that, except in this case, if it pulls the dog park out longer because there's an RFP out for this master plan.
It wouldn't, because we're still gonna have to plan for the community outreach. It's still gonna be wrapped into that. It wouldn't.
Yeah, because the master plan will be every park. It'll be a large.
Yeah, you would still wrap it in there. It wouldn't.
And then I'm assuming they're gonna have meetings as well for the development at some point. They typically have community meetings for that.
I would imagine,
So-
but that would be up to the developer. I would imagine.
Right, so in any case, we might want to pay attention to those as well at the
Absolutely.
city, just to make sure that we're coinciding. Like I said, the only problem I see happening is if for some reason the developer or whatever homes they build there don't want the dog park right next to their homes, and then we would have to move it. But other than that, I don't foresee any other issues, but that would be one that I think might put a wrench in our plans. We might not want the dog park adjacent to homes. So, just from experience, people generally complain about dog barking.
Because of the noise.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Any other comments on item number 7 or questions? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, number 6, sorry. I was moving ahead. On to agenda item number 7, Grove Park and Landscape District Maintenance Project Updates.
That's me again.
There you go.
So we've begun trimming the hillsides on LMD4 by Woodgrove Park. We did remove quite a bit of brush along the back of there, along Parkway Street. And we removed a lot of homeless, along with the whole team, which is from my thunder earlier about the trimming of the hedges and the landscape. So we have been, and of course we're conditioned with the whole team also in abating a lot of the homeless that happened along Woodgrove Park. Since we removed a lot of the brush there and a lot of the overgrown bushes, trees, what have you, the homeless have moved on from that park to another location. We're still there at LMD, at Woodgrove Park. We're trimming along the bank, still along the hillside there. We anticipate being there for probably another week or so, finishing up that area there. We're about 85% completed with that area there. Just so you understand, this kind of with maintenance, it's really the groundwork, the groundwork of the project. We have to go back probably every year to maintain that area the way it is. It's taking a long time right now because the overgrowth is really thick, really large. It's taking a lot of work to get in there and get all the hedges, the trimmage out of there. So we are pretty close to finishing up Woodrow Park, and after we're completed there, we're going to focus everything on Shadow Oak Park and get that cleaned up. We have begun doing some areas there because the hillside being so wet and dangerous for the crews to get in there. So while that kind of settles and gets dried up a little bit, we began work on the bonfire on Shadow Oak Park. Those two are kind of focused right now because the homeless did leave Woodgrove and kind of head over to Shadow Oak. So Shadow Oak's been a little problem for us right now with working with the whole team. They've done a really good job of getting those people out of there. It's kind of been eerily quiet the last few days, the last couple of weeks. So hopefully they've moved on from West Covina and find somewhere else. But we did find a large encampment at Woodgrove Park, and there's another large encampment at Shadow Oak that we're working with. So, but the trimming is going on. They've been doing a really good job of getting that area cleaned up. As you see in the pictures, the before and afters, it's pretty crazy how much brush is overgrown. But like I said, we're gonna, after this is done, we're not done with this project. We're gonna continue maintaining those areas and keeping the hedges at 4 feet, which is kind of our goal. Get the hedges down to 4 feet so that people can hide behind those. Unless you're really short, you can. But for the most part, 4 feet is kind of our goal to keep all that brush and hedges at that height.
Question on the parks. When are they going to do any work in the Gallister Park, or is that in order?
So the Gallister Park is in a different district, and we are going to address all the districts. We are going to be doing all the maintenance and all the trimming on all the districts as part of this project. And we just started these areas here because these are really part of the worst areas that were overgrown for decades. I don't think anyone was in there for a long time to do any maintenance there. But once we complete these areas, we are going to address all the districts.
What do you mean? What do you mean it's in another district?
So the LMD, the landscape maintenance districts. So we're kind of.
You're going by the districts that we have here.
Yes,
okay.
we kind of look at
right.
the areas and
okay.
yes. So we'll address all districts at one point.
All right. Okay.
I think what we can do too, just to provide more information to our commissioners, and you are definitely representatives of the community. I think what we can do the next time we meet in May is that we can give you more of an overview of the LMDs, of the landscape maintenance districts, and then some of the work that we've been doing and what we're doing through this new contract. Right now, in order to get things to where they need to be, we know it's going to take, 18 months?
Yes.
It's going to take 18 months because we were looking at decades of a lot of this landscaping not being addressed to what it needs to be. And being able to communicate that to you and to share that story with all of you, I think will be beneficial, not just for yourselves, but when you see other people in the community, you can help tell those stories. And then we'll also go through our GIS mapping as well. And we'll spend some time on that. So I would recommend that we do that for the next commission meeting along with the sports council and the ad hoc committee. I think that the landscape maintenance districts is going to take a good chunk of the meeting.
Yeah, because the Gallister Park, because it burned, and I don't think anything has been done over there. So that was my concern.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know Deb's reminding me that there are some restrictions too on what we can and can't do in that area. So we'll cover those with you. Like I said, we'll give you that overview and just share that process with you a little bit more. It's a lot, and we just need the time to dedicate to it. I think we were trying to just give you a snapshot right now, just opened up to more questions, and that tells me, okay, we need to spend some time on
well, thank you for the explanation.
Absolutely.
I do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Do we happen to know how many parks we have in the landscape maintenance districts? Which parks are in districts?
Gosh, offhand, I do not know.
Oh, that's fine. I was just wondering, but for sure,
They're
these two
mostly
are.
down south, so you
Yeah.
got Woodgrove,
Right.
Branch,
So all this,
Woodgrove, Friendship, Shadow Oak.
Shadow Oak.
is all this money being done with landscape maintenance district money, or are we using a pot
It's
of
an
it?
assessment. It's part of the assessment.
So all the work that's been done is getting paid from the assessment?
Correct.
And so we had that money saved up?
Well, it builds up after every year it
Okay.
increases.
Yeah.
But it gets renewed every year.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll spend some time on it.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
these are great, no, these are great questions.
I was just wondering, but yeah, it looks really good. I know that I've gotten a lot of good feedback about the clearing of the brush that's been done already, so it's appreciated, and I think it was long overdue, because I remember going to Woodgrove and seeing people walk out and come back in and walk out of that brush area.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's a good thing. So is there a timeline for the Shadow Oak and
So the entire process can take about 18 months.
18 months?
Yeah,
Okay.
so, but it could take, once we start on Shadow Oak, within 6 weeks, you'll notice a big difference.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Ad hoc committee reports?
I don't think we have, how
No, we don't have any.
No, we don't yet.
Yeah.
And commissioners' reports. We can start with Ben, if you have anything to report out.
I don't know if this is a proper time for me to ask about something. This is in regards to the paramedics. Is this a proper time for me to ask a question?
Next
Ambulance.
item, that
Yeah.
needs to be agenda item.
Yeah, we can, well, the paramedic, it wouldn't necessarily be in the scope of this commission, but if you have like a question
Yeah,
about the
I
process.
have a question.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can answer.
go.
Okay. All right.
Maybe, let's talk about it after.
Okay, my question is, since the fire department has an insurance for, if you need a paramedics, and it's $68.
69.
Or $69, okay. But when you call them and they come to your house, they will not take you to any other hospital but Queen of the Valley. So what is the sense of having an insurance when they don't even want to take you to the inner community hospital?
They will take you, if it's a 911 emergency, they will take you to the nearest hospital.
Oh, no, don't tell me that, because I've twice,
If it's impacted, they will take you to inner community.
and I've paid $289 the 2 times because they would not take me to the inner community hospital. When the inner community hospital, that's where my regular doctor is at, not the Queen of the Valley, and they just walked out and then they charged me. And if you don't pay, they send it to a bill collector.
So I can refer you to Vince, his office.
It doesn't do me any good.
I have 115 residents that are mostly on this program, and if they take them to Kaiser, Queen of the Valley, or Inner Community, they pick up the tab.
Well, they didn't do that
Who
with
picked it up? The
me.
fire, I mean,
No, the insurance.
oh, the
picks up
insurance
tab,
did pick
yes.
it up?
It's an excellent program. I push it all day long to every one of my
Well,
residents.
maybe Kaiser, but if
I would say that you
Yeah.
should call the fire captain's office.
I already did, and I still had to
Oh.
pay. I had to pay. I even called Steve Herford to help me out, and he did, yes, and he did,
I'm glad you got help.
So,
but I had to pay the
Sorry, what
200.
program is that you're talking about?
It's the ambulance subscription program, it's by the city of West Covina, that if you call an ambulance and you need to be transferred 911, they pick up the co-payment or other payment that you would have to pay out of pocket after your insurance pays.
That's right.
I just asked Deb if we can go ahead, she's gonna go ahead and send the commissioners information regarding the ambulance subscription program. We do have to keep it to the scope of community and senior services.
But it works
Perfect.
perfectly.
I implemented that program, by the way.
And
when I was in fire.
she's the one that will send you the information. She can give you the information and then redirect you to the appropriate department. Any other items? I know Commissioner Torres, go ahead.
Were you going in order? Did you want to go in order first?
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's
You know,
okay.
but it's just very frustrating when you're sick and they tell you, well, I'm sorry, but no, we won't take you to the Queen of the Valley. So my neighbor, thank God that I have a good neighbor and a good friend. She's the one that takes me to the hospital.
Well, you know, me too. I had to call the paramedics and my wife a couple of years ago after a surgery. And the fire department did not transport her. Nevertheless, they were charging me. And I wrote a letter and I called the insurance company and they picked it up 100%.
Not even,
You
yeah.
know, 100%.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start with the community events I went to.
I mean, is it all possible, well, like Commissioner Torres says, it should have to be itemized on my agenda, that is true. But maybe perhaps we can bring that issue up because it's not right. I mean, if you don't have your doctors in the Queen of the Valley, and why can't they take you to inner community or even Foothill Hospital? I know that at one time they did, and now they don't.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Myers.
Yeah.
We'll have that item agendized. and
We're gonna go ahead and
information.
send you the information
Okay.
for the ambulance subscription program through the fire department. And then if there's additional questions after that, we can, it's because it sounds like these are very personal questions in nature and that affect us personally. So we'll make sure that if this information that Deb says doesn't answer your questions, that you are connected with someone in fire admin that can answer it for you.
Thank you. Commissioner Diaz? Would you like, do you have any reports?
I think could be about anything.
Anything for
Anything you intended for the city.
Yes.
Well, there's some trees that I've been talking to Mike about that need to be trimmed in my neighborhood. They're overgrown.
Yes, we did talk about that.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna send me an email with the
And they're
information.
making a mess of the street.
Yeah. And we talked about that.
Lifting sidewalks, you know, uneven sidewalks.
Absolutely.
Who's my voice is a little. So Mike and I, we talked about it. Even that day we saw each other on Saturday, Sunday at the.
Yeah, and you talked to me about it, yes. And I'm still waiting for that email.
Okay.
When you have the opportunity, send it and we can address it accordingly.
Okay.
Emails help us because we're able to have it articulated in writing. The staff members can refer to it instead of just going by word of mouth.
Yeah.
Thank you. Commissioner Mason?
Well, I went to the open house at the senior center and it was fantastic. It wasn't at Betty, because Betty was there also. And I'm telling you, it was, were you there? Oh yeah, you were there, because I was dragging chairs over. She was there, wasn't it wonderful?
It was fun.
I mean, the DJ,
Good
the
job.
music, the ambiance, the staff, they introduced people. It was great. It was really, really great. I drug my daughter, who's not a senior, and she loved it. She said, "This is a great place." I said, "I told you it was, you know." So, and then I went to the festival this past weekend, and it's been great to be a kid again because there was so much there for them. It was really, really great. My granddaughter was in the buying spree, not in the entertainment. It was really probably one of the best. And that's my report.
Yeah. Thank you for being out in the community.
Fullerito raised his hand.
Oh, sorry, do you have a question?
I went back and, before my sister passed, I went twice to Bethel, Connecticut, which is 40 miles outside of New York. And they are so proud of their community. I came back with a Sacred Heart University. They take you through their town and tell you the history of independence and how their town related to it. I don't see anything around here promoting Arsenio for a shirt. I have 2 shirts from Bethel, Connecticut. I'm proud to wear it because I'm basically I've met the Italian side of my family back there. And we need to actually promote our city better than what it is. I mean, you guys don't realize how good our city is.
You know, I do have a comment with regards to that, and I will comment first. Yes, I agree with you. However, Commissioner Torres is wearing his commissioner's shirt. We all have one. But it is not, we don't wear it frequently enough. The event that I attended on Saturday, our city's spring festival, the staff had amazing Promote West Covina shirts.
Yes.
So
You have a Filipino company that's moved here. It's such a good place to do business. And it represents their headquarters in the United States. I mean, you guys don't realize that's something.
very well taken.
Yes.
Point state, well taken.
I wear West Covina High School shirt, my son goes there.
Well, the high school's promoting it, but what about the city?
You know, we did do quite a bit of marketing and branding with the Centennial. We did have Centennial merchandise and shirts. You know, it is a recommendation that we can take back. We are entering into our budget process, so we're starting to put numbers together for the next fiscal year. We can make the recommendation, but that's what we can do at the staffing level right now. But your point is well taken.
Yes.
You might be fun at the city concerts, throw some t-shirts out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, toss them out, don't throw them out.
Yes.
So I attended the open house at the senior center. It was well done, well executed. If I could afford you, I'd hire you on my staff.
Yeah. Thank you, Sherry. That was a compliment.
That's a real compliment.
Thank you.
I just love what you do.
I love what I do, and that's a team effort.
So thank you. And then as part of the Kiwanis, we're doing the March 23rd Easter egg hunt. I think I'm going to be in charge of Del Norte. So you guys all better behave. No pushing and no butting.
I love it.
Robert. So come out. I think it will be better this year than the past years, and I think it's a little more organized, and I think you had a hand in that too. So make my job easier, and I will wear my shirt.
Yes, very sure.
I will wear my shirt.
Voting rights?
What's that?
Voting rights?
Yeah.
Pony ride. You know, I'm allergic to rabbits and horses. Deathly allergic.
Okay, stay away from there.
But I'm not smart enough to stay away.
She's like, I'm right there.
Because I love them.
You're not Amish.
But I pay dearly for it.
You have
But
to
yeah.
walk.
So Robert wants a pony ride.
All right, Mr. Torres, I think you're up.
Okay, so I shared pictures with Deb. I have them up on the TV there. I attended Walmarado opening day. Commissioner Gutierrez was nice enough to allow Commissioner Flowers and I to throw out one of the first pitches. There was 5 of us, so we all got to throw out the first pitch. The mayor was there, my daughter, Councilman Cantos, and we had a great time. I didn't realize how religious that league is as far as attendance and just community involvement, parent involvement. That thing was packed, and
Last year too.
there was so many championship teams that I lost track. That was one of our championship teams, but there were several teams that made all-stars and traveled, and it's definitely a great organization, so that was a fun time. I also wanted to share that I attended the school districts tour. I don't know if any of you.
I did as well.
There you go, and that's some of the photos. As we walk into West Covina High School, we had the cheerleaders welcome us. And just to touch on a few things, we toured Orangewood. They have an amazing IB program. Monte Vista, they had a theater program that was really great. You got to see that.
That was phenomenal.
They have a multimedia center there in West Covina High School, media production, robotics lab, and they have a new culinary classroom. So it was just amazing to kind of see the bond money at work. And also, a lot of the projects we saw were not bond related. They were just funded by the school district or other funding. So that was an amazing experience, and I recommend every other commissioner take that tour when you have the chance. The school district offers it every so many.
No, I think this is the first time. The first time they offered it, it was canceled last year.
Okay,
So, and I attended it as well, and it was pretty, did I see you there? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah, we were there.
We were all
Seems
there.
like a long time ago. Yeah.
And then I also attended the American Little League at Cortez Park. That was a great event. I got there late, but I was able to talk to a lot of people and meet some of the players and parents. And then last but not least, the Spring Festival. Great job, Roxanne and staff. It was probably one of the best planned. I don't know if it was the most well attended, but I really liked your video that you put out. You did a great job. So
Yeah.
if you're willing to do more of that, I think it'll help promote our events. You're very good on camera. So, and
You did a good
but
job.
the only advice or recommendation I have is maybe next time you can do the same thing, but like a week earlier. And I think that would help a lot because you can hype up the event, maybe get more attendance. But you did a really great job, and everything was really planned out well, and the bands were great. Food was great.
We have a great staff, and as much we rely on each other. You know, all, believe it or not, every department plays a role. From community services, maintenance, code enforcement, PD, fire, finance, city clerk's office. It really is every department that plays a role. So we appreciate that. Thank you. We have a new commissioner.
And I actually went somewhere. I'll tell you a little bit about me. My mom moved here in '87. We're in Nogales and Amar, so right at the border. So I haven't lived here. I moved back in 2012 to take care of my mom. She has Alzheimer's. My stepdad is 94. Work with me. Anyway, so I'm glad you told me about the senior center because I'm trying to get him out to do something, somebody else to hear his stories. He has a lot of them, just to get out. So thank you for that information. But I don't know a lot about West Covina. So I went to the Historical Society meeting last week, and it was really informative. I learned a lot about the community, how the community is built, and the mayors and all of that, and why Disneyland didn't come to us.
You heard that story.
Yeah,
Good.
So that was good. So I didn't know, if we were required to go to a certain amount of events, or if we just did it on our own and report back. But now I'm just getting a feel of everything going on.
So as a commissioner, you will be invited to events. And they're not mandatory, but the community likes to see you there. And we like to see you there too, because you are a representative of the community. While you're appointed by a council member, you still represent the community. So we appreciate when you attend the events. Commissioner Torres kind of stepped it up this time. He set the bar with bringing pictures. You're not required, but we appreciate when you share. And we look forward to that. And that also gives us feedback too, which is something that we're absolutely open to. Okay.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
It's going to be a pleasure getting to know you at the community events.
Yes.
I do have a couple of comments to make. I've also been out and about. The last event, of course, was the Spring Festival, and it was amazing. It was, back to the gentleman's point in the back, it was a beautiful way to promote West Covina and in a very community way. Everyone looked great. I thought everything was perfect on the first day. Opening was great. The music I thought was fantastic. And then so I'm not sure what happened afterwards, but it was a great event. We had perfect weather. Beautiful way to promote West Covina. I also attended a ribbon cutting event for the new beach volleyball facility and wildlife sanctuary over at Mountain Stack. That was beautiful, and if you haven't had an opportunity to go, you should go and visit. That place is amazing. It's a beautiful place for families. Other than that, the only other item that was different than everyone else's, because I have bumped into various commissioners throughout the Historical Society and places like that, is I did attend the groundbreaking over in Covina for the new aquatics facility. That was also a very amazing event, and it was attended by our mayor, and council member Cantos was there. I believe Councilmember Flowers was there.
The high school?
Yeah,
Covina High School, yeah.
Covina High School. It was really a very amazing event. So we look forward to, I guess, continued partnerships in that kind of realm with the school districts and the cities. So they are our neighbors, and so that was great. The other item I have is the San Gabriel Valley COG is continuing to hold ongoing meetings regarding regional broadband needs. So that's kind of an ongoing thing. It's a very multi-layered, complex sort of topic, but it does involve the communities in the San Gabriel Valley. And so tomorrow is just a Zoom summit. And I believe at this point it's more about gathering data, information. It's public information, and you're welcome to scan in and join the meeting.
Could we send, what time is the meeting at? At 2?
2:30.
Can we send this to the community services group?
Yep. It's really interesting, the whole broadband thing, so.
No, thank you for bringing it, thank you for bringing it forward. Yeah, it is tomorrow, but thank you for bringing it forward, and we can share this with like the different service clubs and organizations. If someone can hop on, maybe they'll be able to.
Right.
Is it free?
Did you get it?
Good Zoom.
Okay.
And with that,
Since the campaign has been deceived.
are there any items that need to be agendized?
Yeah. we can- Oh, go ahead.
I do have one.
Yes.
I don't know if it's appropriate, but I went to a cremation presentation. I don't know if that would be something that we would want to like offer to at the senior center or not. It was very informative. So I don't know. I brought information. I can tell you more about it.
That would be a program for the seniors.
I can take the information and
Okay.
see what we can.
Okay.
We offer
Very, very informative.
Thank you. And Commissioner Torres, any items?
Yes. Roxanne read my mind earlier, but I was gonna ask about the park master plan, but you said that the RFP already went out. So whenever, I guess that's ready to be presented to us at some point.
We'll let you know when we award it, when it goes to council for awarding of a firm.
Okay.
I have some thoughts about a panel, but I want to run that by the acting city manager first before I communicate that to you.
The RFP approved by, not the master plan, right? Just the RFP.
And the RFP already went out, so,
Well, no, I'm saying the RFP is approved by the council.
no. The
Or the
firm will be
master plan.
approved by the council.
The firm only.
The
but
firm
not the
and
master
then the
plan.
master plan will be adopted by the council.
So I remember last time we discussed it, we were, at least I was under the impression that we would get to look at it.
You can look at the RFP.
The master plan before it's approved by the council?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's a public community process.
Right.
Absolutely.
So it'll go through our vetting before it gets to the.
Correct.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay, cool. And I just wrote down a bunch of things. Cortez Park bench program, that was what.
I spoke
Treasurer
with,
Rosati brought up.
what is her name? Remind me her name, the donor. I spoke with her last month. She was under the weather when I spoke with her. She is going to provide me with more information.
The same one.
Yes, it's the same one. She was sick when I spoke with her.
Oh, okay.
So she's gonna provide me with more information. I told her I would check back in with her. This was
Okay.
the end of February when you and I talked about it.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was-
And I talked to her one other time before in January, same thing, she was under the weather.
okay. Perfect, so at some point we'll see that. Okay, and then Discover Senior Highlight.
Can we bring it back?
I know that we talked a lot about it, but I don't know if we ever did anything.
So the where we had left off, we did do the one for Morris. We had left off with,
Right.
let's put it on the agenda, that's fine. But where we had left off is we were gonna talk to, it was someone was neighbors with the gentleman from the JEP,
Right.
and that's where it was.
So we'll bring that back.
Yeah, that's
So
fine.
will our next meeting give us enough time to get on the next?
No, you'd be looking at fall.
We're looking at fall.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, so we'll aim for fall then. And if that, how soon will you know if that is a possible highlight, or should we start looking for others?
I can find out this week,
Okay.
so then I'll get back to you if we can't meet the fall deadline.
We'll put it on the agenda for May.
Okay.
Okay, another item, the youth council. Were you here when we still had the youth council?
No.
And is that still a thing? I don't think so, right? I think it got stopped at COVID.
No, because the school districts do their own little thing too,
No,
along
but
with
the
Covina.
youth council was, they would meet
They would meet here,
monthly.
yeah.
We can discuss that at a future meeting as well. It won't be May. May sounds packed now between what I'm thinking for the LMD's presentation, sports council, senior highlight, the ad hoc committee appointments. So we can look at, I think we'd be looking at July at this point. We can start having those
Okay.
discussions.
Yeah, my idea was just to bring it back. I think it was a really good thing to have when we did have it. I actually attended a few of those meetings, talked to the kids. They sat around just like we do at I think it was in the lobby.
The student community room.
Student community room. And then they had an agenda. They went through the motions, but I'm not sure why it was discontinued, but if we could put it on the agenda to see if we could bring it back.
Okay.
What else did I have? Do we have an update on the mural at the skate park? I know that was a thing at some point.
I don't have one.
No?
I know there were a couple council members who were interested in that. I haven't heard any chatter on that.
Okay, so maybe just an update item on that? Like if there's-
July.
Yeah, for the skate park, or maybe just for the mural, or the
Okay.
art money that we were.
Yeah, there was an ad hoc committee, and that was done through, wasn't there were you on that
Yeah.
ad hoc committee?
No.
Okay, there was an ad hoc committee, I recall that there was one, I wanna say it was done through planning and engineering.
Yeah.
Does that sound correct?
Yeah, I
This
think
would have
it
been
was.
back in, December 2022, I wanna say, does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If
Yeah, we
could just
can,
have an
we can see
update
what
on
it is.
That was something I had noted as well. And then the last thing, I just had notes from previous meetings, but I know that the water agencies have a lot of vacant land small vacant land in our city. So I think, I don't know how many meetings ago, maybe 2 years ago, I had mentioned that if we could look into utilizing their land for open space, like either parklets or, so the ask is basically to identify all the water agency land that's vacant and seeing if we can have some sort of collaborative effort to actually utilize that space, because I've seen a lot of just vacant lots, and every time I look up who they're owned by, it's normally water agencies.
Let's do this. That would also be part of a Parks Master Plan too, because they do need to identify potential spaces for recreation. So
Okay.
let's handle it that way.
Is it too late because it's RFP?
It's not, the RFP, the purpose of an RFP is to solicit a qualified company. There's certain benchmarks that we look for, but the actual plan itself, we still need to provide those whoever we go with, we still need to provide them with data.
Okay.
Okay.
So that could be rolled into the.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Cool. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Torres, and Commissioner,
No, as long as you're working on the bench with, I cannot remember the name. And I was
it's
looking
in our
to,
minutes.
I was looking to see. if
I was
could
thinking,
find it.
yeah.
I have a picture of her name.
I know what she looks like.
The lady that wanted the park bench last year about this time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we're all, we'll look it up. I have it back at the office, I just can't remember it right now.
Name is.
Yeah.
So I have no items to be agendized. We have a couple of upcoming events, and they're listed. And just a reminder again about attending city meetings as you can. They're also listed with dates and times. One reminder, we have our Form 700s.
Yes.
Oh, good job.
We need those. We need those.
And you need it tonight?
She needs it this week, hopefully, if we can get them done.
All right, because I know some of the commissioners need to.
Joan Hain.
Joan, yeah.
Hainan.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have it, we have our contact.
Thank you. Okay. And we are working and moving forward with it.
I just need her information.
I haven't heard from her in the last 6 weeks, but.
January and the end of last month we talked.
Okay, I want to welcome you again before we adjourn. Thank you so much for being here.
Welcome.
Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.